As a young architect's first stab at house building, Hammerwood Park near East Grinstead isn't at all a bad little property. But then Benjamin Henry Latrobe was no ordinary architect.
So welcome to Hammerwood Park. It was built as a temple to Dionysus, who's the god of madness. And here in this plaque we see madness going on. And the house is not just a temple to madness. Dionysus was the Greek god, Bacchus, of all green growing things, of the mind, but as well as the park. The house was built as a temple to agriculture, a temple to agricultural production, a temple to all green growing things. You've got these wonderful temples on each side and this central block with these giant engaged pilasters that look like columns in the middle to give it grandeur. Well, there is somewhere else that was designed in the same idea, from the same drawing. And that drawing appears to be of this house, but with a different central block. So let's go and have a look at this drawing. So let's come inside and look at the archive. This architect was amazing. And while so many documents have been destroyed, so much still exists. So come in, this is our archive room. So here we have the B.H. Latrobe historical material, and we're going to probably switch to computer records, but this is a wonderful presentation of the restoration of the sister house of this in the 1980s. It's the most fabulous building, and you can see upstairs it has a delightful ceiling and most amazing, almost Egyptian arches. And this is the house in the course of works. It's a superb place, and you can see the way in which this portico is circular, and that becomes really interesting. You can see this circular portico, and you go in here, and there's shutters, circular shutters. There's a wonderful staircase which actually was moved. It did actually go up the middle and then come up both sides. And then it's almost a replica, but at Hammerwood there's a wall right down the middle and no front door because the design was changed. And all of this comes from a very special drawing. And here we see the front of the house, and when we have a look at the original Latrobe drawing, you'll see how this was the idea for the central block of Hammerwood. And this circular portico, of course, made double height, as the pilasters at Hammerwood is the model for the south portico of the White House in Washington, D.C. So here we have this south portico for which Latrobe was responsible, directly derived from the concept of Ashdown together with Hammerwood. Well, was Latrobe having Hammerwood and Ashdown in his mind when he designed these buildings? This is an important photograph because this is from the same angle as the Latrobe drawing, which we're going to see. So here we have the original Latrobe drawing, which shows the wings of Hammerwood with the temples, but a different central block. And John Spurling, who's having the place built, is standing there with his hunting gun and hunting dog by his side in a temple portico with a front door. We've got the arched windows on each side, the double arches, windows above, and you can see on the roofline a piece of stone. Now, it turns out that Ashdown House is this central block, and he changed the design because Hammerwood achieved magnificence in its landscape by having big columns here and small columns here, so that the small columns looked further away, so that it looked more magnificent. That left this unbuilt. So the next year it was built for Trayton Fuller at Ashdown House. So there is Hammerwood from the same angle, but with different central block. And here is Ashdown from the same angle, There you've got where John Spurling stood but turned into a circular temple. There you've got the piece of stone that occurs in the drawing. And this top floor is really important because there are domed rooms in there, clearly built by Latrobe. The problem is that this house has been used as a school and there are odd buildings around it, which, quite frankly, they're set back further. You don't really need to remove them in order to enjoy the house. And of course, to convert this house into apartments will mean putting reinforced fireproof floors and ceilings in, destroying the interior. And it will mean that for public access will never be available here. This building is of such heritage, it deserves better than conversion into flats. And it's a place with a theatre, a swimming pool, so much communal facilities. It's a place with concerts could be wonderful. It has its own dining hall, its own residential block for residential courses. It's got so much potential for other uses.